Hi, hello everyone. It is Mama Smash here with a very special start to a speed build series I'll be doing here on my channel, and that is the first day of the 12 days of Simsmas. So, in case you didn't know, the 12 days of Christmas actually start on Christmas Day. They don't start 12 days before and then end on Christmas. So, in honor of those 12 days of Christmas, I will be posting a 12 days of Christmas inspired speed build every day for the next 12 days. So today we start with the first day of Simsmas, which in the song is a partridge in a pear tree. So each day will bring its own challenges, and here's kind of how it'll go. Each day will be a different lot type. Each day will be built in a different world in The Sims 4, and each day will have a specific item that I have to use that is based on what that day is. So for today it is a pear tree, and so I will be using a pear tree. A lot of pear trees actually, as you'll see in a bit. And then the trick is that every day after this one I also have to have a specific object for each day used in every other build. So for instance, today's object is a pear tree to go with a partridge in a pear tree. And so every other build that I do in the 12 days of Simsmas will also have a pear tree somewhere in that build. So this will be really fun. It's been really fun to work on and just kind of challenge myself. And so here's the first day. So the first day is a tiny home. That is the lot type. And it is built in Brindleton Bay, and it kind of ends up being more of a cottage almost. It's kind of magic-y, which was kind of fun to build. And so I first started out and kind of laid out the tiles. It ends up being a tier 2 tiny home, so it's not the smallest one, but it's the second smallest, which still has a lot of cool, traits and stuff that tiny home lots come with. And so now I'm working on the roof, and it was really hard to roof. I wanted to try to do these kind of cool bump outs that have kind of a hexagon or octagon, I'm not sure how many sides they have, on the edges, and roofing for that was just not working with me, let me tell you. But I finally kind of came up with this cool turret on the side with this kind of bump out in the front, also having this kind of rounded roof, and I liked that too. And of course there's a nice chimney up the side, and as the build's coming together, it was really fun, like I said, to do this series. I've really enjoyed the challenge that it's been, and kind of trying to build outside of my comfort zone and not just always in the same worlds and doing the same types of build. And I think this challenge has really done that. So I'm really excited to share this with you all over the next 12 days, for this to be the first day. All of these builds will be available on the Sims 4 gallery. My ID there is Mama Smash RR. But they will also all be tagged with hashtag Mama Smash Simsmas. So if you'd like to check that out, you can find them all under that hashtag as well. So now we're kind of finishing up the base of the outside of the house. I put stone on the inside as well. I figured if it's a stone house, it's probably stone on the inside too, and not just kind of, normal painted walls or something like that. It was kind of cool to put this fireplace up on a little mantle almost in this little cutout over here, and then I put stone floor and wood flooring. I tried to kind of keep with a green and brown theme for coloring throughout the whole thing, because it's pears. I thought of pears, that makes sense with them being green, and pears are green, and then brown like the tree. And so I started to put all of these birch trees that were on the lot when I first got there, and because I wanted this to kind of be in a little grove. And then I realized that the whole point of this day was pear trees, and so I thought that wouldn't make sense. So I went and got a perfect pear tree from the Sims 4 gallery. So thank you to whoever I ended up getting that from, it was just a pear tree in a planter box. And I will actually go and I'll place a lot of these pear trees down. So I placed one down and I had a sim go and, harvest from it. And I had him plant those and I made them all bloom. But that wasn't fast enough for me. So I went and I placed, I don't know how many of these, like a bunch all around. Got rid of like the base they were on and the planters. And so I put them back on the ground. And then I went back and had my sim harvest all of them. There's over 99 pears, and so I placed them all around this entire lot, and then went and had my sim like plant them all. And it's gonna skip ahead here in a minute right after he starts planting, because it took so long for him to get around and plant all of these pear trees. And let me tell you, it was too many. I admit that now. It was way too many to start off with, but we'll get there. So he's planted them all, and I'm kind of trying to put them around how I kind of see them working. Once they're all grown, which I'll get them all grown a little bit later. And I wanted this kind of little garden area outside. I figured, it's kind of a magical type inspired build, so I'll put some like magical plants out there, and there'll be a specific pear tree that is, I don't know, the grandfather of all pear trees, I guess. If I had to pick one partridge to go in one pear tree, this would be that. And then I put this little bird feeder out there. Who knows? Maybe there's partridges in the game. I'm not sure. Partridge is a type of bird, so I figure if there's a bird feeder, that's the best chance we have to possibly see a partridge somewhere in this build. So this little garden was kind of fun, and I forgot that, fences even count if you close them off. They count as tiles when you're doing a tiny home. And so I ended up leaving a space and then putting a gate. It's still functional. I play tested it. But that, in case you're wondering, is a nice cheat way to get around still having those little fenced in kind of backyard areas with a gate, but not having too many tiles so that you could still have a tiny home. So the landscaping for this house was really a lot. I don't normally do as much landscaping as I did for this. Obviously the trees, all the pear trees in themselves, like that was a lot. But the plants and grass and bushes that I put around the outside of the house also is a lot more than I think I would normally do. But I kind of like this idea of this like overgrown, magical type cottage look. And so I thought it kind of needed that all those extra plants to really kind of bring that alive. So I started with these like bushes all the way around. I found this grass that I don't really normally use. And then I decided, it should be ivy colored if it's kind of this old cottage, like back in this grove of pear trees. And so I'll spend a long time here going and putting this ivy all around this entire house. And at first I just kind of put it as it is in the catalog, just like placing it and placing it and placing it. And then I kind of realized that didn't really look like authentic ivy. And so I ended up putting the ivy on in little segments. And so you can use the bracket keys on your computer if you don't know how to do that, but it makes objects bigger or smaller. And so I would size the ivy down to kind of make more vines that would crisscross or go up onto different parts of the wall, or up over on the top, or even on these kind of skinnier sections. The one that like is just the basic one, if you click on the ivy, is too big for those sections. And so just kind of putting some nuance into how this ivy looks all around, and so making it more viney than just, I'm going to make the whole thing covered in ivy. So it is really covered, don't get me wrong, it's very covered in ivy, but I tried to make it more like it was kind of winding its way up in different parts of the house, rather than just placing it exactly how it is when you get it from the catalog in Build and Buy. So like I said, this took a while. I sized it down. I think the most you could size it down was 3 times. And So kind of getting around that took a while. But we finally got it all the way around. I put these cute little planter boxes. Thought that was kind of like a cute little way to still have some flowers, and then ended up putting some bushes as well. But I wanted to work on the inside first and get it a little bit more lit. I thought about making this off the grid, and I think for the most part it does work off the grid. I think there's like a couple lighting fixtures in the end that are not, which you could remove if you wanted it to be an off the grid house. But mostly I was doing things for looks than necessarily trying to make it completely off the grid. And so yeah, here we go. I'm trying to figure out lights and make sure it still looks okay when it's dark outside. The bathroom was kind of fun. Just this like I don't know, stony green and brown bathroom. There's not a shower. There's only a tub. That actually might be because of it being trying to kind of be off the grid. And then I realized I didn't have a dining space, so I ended up moving. So there's one counter, your stove / oven, and your fridge, and then you kind of have your little dining table over in that corner. So then I went and I changed the seasons so that I could actually see what these flowers looked like on these bushes, so that I could actually do that. So I went around and did all the bushes on the outside, and so I started, like I said, I put those big bushes around just the base walls of the house, and then I went and did these smaller bushes with kind of like flowers on them around like the rest of the house, and just kind of again sized them up, sized them down to make sure that they kind of went all the way around. And then I also put in some of the like grass that's also available in the like I think flower section around, to just kind of like make it look like there was more there than just these random bushes on this like flat grass. So that kind of added in some depth on the bottom of the flowers. And of course I'll go through and do some terrain paint in the end as well, to give that like dirt look, like earth that's been brought up as flowers are planted. And then I also went around the edges of this fenced in little garden area in the back, because I figure there's probably grass growing on either side of this fence, and so I went and used that same kind of grass to go all the way around. So then I had him open up the planter seed packets and cut out all the couple of days that I played to make these pear trees all grown. And as you can see, like I said, it was way too many pear trees. Y'all, it was so many pear trees, and you'll see I just end up deleting them, a lot of them. There's still plenty, trust me. It is very much a pear grove, but there was like so much more. I don't know why I thought I needed so many pear trees, but I'm happy I had them. I had the option to put as many as I wanted, and yeah, so I'm kind of moving them around now, putting them on either side of the path so they line the path, and then they kind of line the outside of the lot as well, so that, you know, it's kind of covered from all sides. And then I went through and kind of deleted them. One problem I did find was that once I moved them, they would go down like a stage in how they were growing. So if they were blossoming, which they all were, so they all had pears, if I moved it once, then they would be grown but not have pears. But if I moved them twice, then they would go back to like a little seedling. So once I moved them, I could not move them again if I wanted them to be a tree. So it took me a little bit to figure out why that was happening. And when I did do it, I just kind of had to delete it and move on and find a new tree. But in the end, I think it ended up looking good and not having literally over 100 trees on this lot. Rather, it has less than that, but still is a very nice kind of grove of pear trees. So then I went and I saw a few places that this ivy was missing from, so I kind of fixed that. Realized there wasn't a trash can I don't know where to put a trash can, so it ends up outside. One of those like outside trash cans. It's even green, so keeping with that green theme. And then I kind of like the idea of this little like old overrun wishing well over here in the corner with a couple benches and some little outside lights that I'll put all around so you can still see when it is nighttime. And yeah, it was just really fun. I have built tiny homes before, but never really ones that kind of are small and like pushed back into this kind of really overly grown grove of like lots of trees and stuff like that. So that was a really fun experiment for me to like experiment with this. And then I went back and I put a bunch of pears just all over because I had him harvest, some of the trees, not all of them. There's too many trees. And once I moved them, like I said, they didn't have pears. But I went in and I just put pears like all over the inside of the house, just for fun. So there's probably like 10 pears just kind of around on the dresser and side tables and stuff like that. So that is the end of today's build. And I will see you all next time. I hope you really enjoyed this first day of Simsmas, a partridge in a pear tree. And like I said, it'll be up on the gallery if you'd like to find it under Mama Smash RR or the hashtag Mama Smash Simsmas. And I hope you all are having a smashing day. Until next time, bye!